What's going on, you guys? This is Dementia Scott back at you once again with a brand new ranking video, and today I'm going to give you guys my personal ranking of the X-Men franchise from least to the best. Before we get into today's video, if you guys are brand new to my channel, if you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos if you like what you see. You can also find me on Facebook and Instagram with the same name as usual, Dimension Scott. Okay, now that I've seen Deadpool and Wolverine this past Sunday, I figured, you guys, how about I give you guys my personal ranking of the 20th Century Fox X-Men franchise that started way back in 2000 with the original X-Men film that was a pretty good hit. So, with all that in mind, shall we begin? Last place for me comes to no surprise, and that is X-Men Origins Wolverine. With the writer's strike, studio meddling, a butchered up Deadpool, and a lot of crammed into one movie, it's not really good. At number 13 is going to be X-Men The Last Stand. I think there's a lot of personal gripes with this movie that I have. They killed off Cyclops way too soon. I think combining two storylines, a Cure, Magneto's war, and the Dark Phoenix threat was a big no-no. And Bryan Singer choosing not to direct X-Men 3 was a big mistake too. It does have credible action. Juggernaut was pretty hilarious. I'm the Juggernaut. Even with Days of Future Past, I guess I can somewhat forgive it. But I also did not like Magneto abandoning Mystique when she accidentally took the Cure. That really made me upset. Number 12 is X-Men Apocalypse. Do I quite enjoy it? Yes. I enjoy our new cast. I understand it is a kind of a step down from the amazing Days of Future Past. I think they could have used the villain Apocalypse more. Is it long? Kinda yes. It has that fantastic Quicksilver save sequence, and being set in the 1980s is pretty fun. You know, it does even have a cameo from Wolverine, a Weapon X Wolverine. That was pretty amazing too. Too bad they showed it in the trailers. So it's a decent continuation from Days of Future Past set in the 1980s. Michael Fassbender is still amazing as Magneto, and James McAvoy, and our new cast who play Jean, Storm, Storm, Cyclops, and Nightcrawler, and a couple of more fan favorites. It was kind of the beginning of the X-Men into the more accurate X-Men at the end of the movie. Didn't have problems with Jennifer Lawrence as Mystique in this one, but she was a lot better in Days of Future Past. But yeah, still an okay. Could have been cut down with the runtime. Apocalypse could have been better. He is the biggest bad guy of all X-Men, and still okay. Number 11 is The Wolverine. It has a good idea. Wolverine going to Japan after the events of X-Men The Last Stand. Logan is so depressed. He had to kill Jean Grey. He wants to be all by himself, all alone, and he has all these nightmares of accidentally killing Jean Grey. Those are really solid ideas. So the first two acts are pretty good. It was the beginning of seeing an R-rated Wolverine, and Wolverine learning the skills of samurai and ninja. Two solid acts, but the last couple of minutes felt pretty flat for the next solo movie. Still a better improvement of X-Men Origins Wolverine. Still, I don't think it's the greatest solo movie in my opinion. It does have a great action train sequence while in Japan, and for the most part, pretty practical action and even practical claws again from that were CGI'd in Origins Wolverine. Still, it's okay. Not the greatest solo movie, but still okay. Coming in at 10th place is going to be a movie that really will probably shock you, and as well as my number 9, and that is the first Deadpool. So after all the disaster in X-Men Origins Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds has fought the studio to make a more comic book accurate Deadpool. And as for the movie itself, I think I think the screen time of Wade Wilson as Deadpool is pretty fun, but most of the origin stuff between the villains and Wade Wilson's girlfriend really dragged the film for me. And I think this is just not what I want to see in a comic book movie about Deadpool. So every time those sequences go there, I'm like, can we please get this over with and let's get back to Wade Wilson, complete full-on Deadpool, hanging out with Colossus and I forget that girl's name though. But you know, most of the origin stuff really dragged this film down for me. But still, I still think I thoroughly enjoy it, mostly for when he is complete full-on Deadpool, not hanging out with his girlfriend. I'm just not a huge fan of romantic comedies and comic book movies like this. And at ninth place is another overrated X-Men movie, and that is X-Men First Class. Now, don't get me wrong, I think James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender did a great job in their roles, but as for a prequel, a 1960s spy movie, it's not what I want to see in an X-Men movie, okay? Really? Coming in at eighth place is Deadpool 2. Now, I'm glad this movie went on full Deadpool. We're stepping away from all the relationships between Wade Wilson and his girlfriend from the first one, which I didn't like all that much in that movie. So in this movie, he teams up with our new incoming characters like the X-Force, Domino, and Cable, played by Josh Brolin, who played Thanos in the MCU. So it's fun. It is still R-rated. Wade Wilson is still good as Deadpool, and it's kind of long though. No, I could have cut out some stuff in this movie, and all right, fun movie. Still not my favorite of the Deadpool series, and we'll get into the next one. Coming in at number 7 is going to be The New Mutants. This was the first movie I saw in the theaters back when COVID was such a huge deal. So for what this is, it is an interesting horror take in comic book Marvel movies, especially produced by 20th Century Fox. So you had this group of kids in this hospital asylum. They really sound like teenagers with mutant powers, especially Anya Taylor-Joy, who really stole the show in this movie. So never really understand the hate for this movie. It's a fun teenage horror movie set in the 20th century X-Men movies, and it was really fun. Number 6 is now the release of Deadpool and Wolverine. Fun movie, great chemistry between Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool and once again Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Great fan service, great cameos from familiars from either 20th Century Fox or even New Line Cinema. You guys probably guessed that if you've seen the movie. I won't spoil it. Entertaining from start to finish. Might be my favorite one out of the Deadpool series. I'm not so sure. I gotta really do a rewatch of these and probably do a ranking of the Deadpool movies when I get that on Blu-ray or 4K. Now we're in my top 5. So my number 5 is one that I have not mentioned in this list yet, and a movie that nobody likes, which I don't understand, is Dark Phoenix. So say what you want about Dark Phoenix, but Sophie Turner did great. The movie focuses a lot more on Jean struggling with her powers, which I think is my preferred story than what they did in Last Stand. If you can tell, they were trying to course correct their mistakes about what they did in Last Stand by cramming so much subplots in the film. But you know, Sophie Turner more focused on the Phoenix storyline. It may not be as accurate as the comic books, but for what it is, I still think it's decent. Great score by Hans Zimmer. It is amazing to this day. It is one of the most epic scores I've ever heard in a comic book movie. The incredible action in the train is still awesome. Most of our cast is still great. I think Simon Kinberg did a fabulous job in directing this movie. A much more preferred adaptation of the Phoenix storyline than what it was in Last Stand. So I think for that, it is definitely the most overly hated movie in the X-Men film series. Number 4 is where it all began with the original X-Men. This movie kicked off the comic book industry of the 2000s with great cast, great action, great directing by Bryan Singer, Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, Hugh Jackman, James Marsden, and many, many more. So this is definitely one of my childhood comic book movies, period. Not just Spider-Man, but also X-Men that kicked off the genre of the 2000s, which makes it really, really underrated. Number 3 is the follow-up to the original X-Men movie, and that is X2 X-Men United. So with the success of X-Men, they kicked it up a notch. Once again, directed by Bryan Singer, incredible action, especially Nightcrawler in this movie. Everyone gets to shine for the most part. The X-Men and Magneto and Mystique worked together to take down the military leader William Stryker, who also gave Wolverine his adamantium in his bones and claws. So definitely one of the most greatest sequels, comic book movies ever made, and it really makes me wish that this success could have continued in X-Men Last Stand if maybe if Bryan Singer stayed on board. Number 2 is Logan, with originally was Hugh Jackman's final performances as Logan, but this is definitely a legacy movie. It is dark, it is brutal, great action, period, from start to best. Great acting by Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart once again as Charles Xavier, who is ill and he has this seizure that can accidentally kill mutants and or humans, and the X-23, Wolverine's daughter, fantastic. And I'm glad, well, if you've seen the trailers for Deadpool and Wolverine, you probably know what I mean. So Logan is definitely one of my favorite comic movies of all time. But coming in at number 1 is Days of Future Past, the Rogue cut. Now, the reason why I say the Rogue cut, because if you can tell on this cover work, they cut out some sequences that involved the character of Rogue, who was seen in the trailers. So they eventually later released a alternate cut of the film, which I think ties in one loose end from the original X-Men movie between Rogue and Wolverine. But other than that, the movie has an incredible opening sequence with these terrorizing, unstoppable, killing Sentinel machines. No matter where you go, the Sentinels eventually find you, and they're going to kill each and every mutant that have taken over the world. This movie is based on one of the greatest X-Men storylines, Days of Future Past. So this movie, once again, directed by Bryan Singer, brings in your original cast, but also your first-class actors of characters, all attempt to work together in different timelines and time traveling thing, and tries to course correct mistakes from X-Men Last Stand, which I think this is what this movie really, really did, was course correct a lot of things that were made in X-Men Last Stand. So if this was the last X-Men movie, I think it would have been a definitely great high note, because with this movie, you can probably forgive them for their mistakes in X-Men Last Stand or Origins Wolverine and a lot more. So there we have it, guys. What did you guys think of my ranking? How would you rank the X-Men franchise from least to the best, even if you've seen Deadpool and Wolverine? Let me know down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.